Legal News 5th March to 11th March 2017 by Deepak Miglani. Summary court-martial must be held only in exceptional circumstances and its reasons recorded in writing. Supreme Court cannot disclose PM's passport document details. Chief Information Commissioner. Amity Student suicide. Supreme Court transferred case to Delhi High Court. Trees would not be cut if they could vote observed by Delhi High Court. Supreme Court sought explanation from Kerala government on removal of TP Sen Kumar DGP. Upahar Tragedy Victims Association moved Supreme Court. Supreme Court calls for exemplary fine to curb frivolous PILs. Supreme Court lands on Panama Leaks investigation. Isolated incidents of cruelty, no ground for divorce. Supreme Court. Supreme Court fast-tracked proceedings against Vijay Mallya. 13 Maruti workers found guilty of killing journal manager. 31 of violence at plant-Gurugram court. Foreign publishers Oxford, Cambridge and Taylor and Francis Group allowed to withdraw their lawsuit against photocopy shop in Delhi University. Delhi High Court. Calcutta High Court Judge CS Karnan ordered case against Chief Justice of India, 6 Supreme Court judges and Attorney General. Supreme Court refused to order CBI probe against some journalist in Agusta deal. South Korea court removed President Park Geun Hye over graft scandal. Pak Parliament passed Hindu marriage bill. Now news in detail. Summary court-martial must be held only in exceptional circumstances and its reasons recorded in writing. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has dismissed the Army's petition seeking review of an order of the top court in July 2016, which had said that a summary court-martial must be held only in exceptional circumstances and its reasons recorded in writing. In the review petition, the Army had stated that there was no provision in the Army Act for recording reasons for an summary court-martial. A summary court-martial is held by the commanding officer of a corps, department or detachment to which an accused soldier belongs. The commanding officer alone constitutes the court. The summary court-martial can pass any sentence under the Army Act except death or imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year. While dismissing the review petition, a division bench headed by Chief Justice J.S. Keher clarified that reasons would have to be recorded from the date of the decision of the court, which is 5th July 2016. Cannot disclose PM's passport document details. Chief Information Commissioner. Chief Information Commissioner has held that documents submitted by PM Narendra Modi along with the application for getting a passport and its renewal cannot be disclosed as these are personal information. The case relates to an RTI application filed by GM Chauhan, a member of the Gujarat Pradesh Congress Committee, seeking copies of the material submitted by Modi for obtaining his first passport and subsequent renewal or fresh application for obtaining a diplomatic one. Amity Student suicide. Supreme Court transferred case to Delhi High Court. The Supreme Court transferred to the Delhi High Court the alleged suicide case of Amity University's law student Sushant Rohilla. A bench of Justices Adarsh Kumar Goyal and Uday Umesh Lalit directed the Apex Court Registry to send the judicial records related to the case to the High Court. The Apex Court had earlier directed the university's founder president Ashok K. Chauhan to file an affidavit detailing action against on the incident. On 5th September 2016, last year, the Apex Court on its own motion taken cognizance of a letter written by a friend of Rohilla who had allegedly committed suicide, saying it would examine whether there was an element of suspicion that the incidents took place due to harassment. Trees would not be cut if they could vote, observed by Delhi High Court. The Delhi High Court observed that if trees could vote, they would not be hacked for infrastructure projects. Hearing a PIL relating to the rising air pollution in the city, the Delhi High Court also said that there should be a CAG audit of timber generated by encroachers or authorities for various projects in the national capital. Taking up the issue suo moto, the court has been trying to stem the rise in pollution and is monitoring steps taken in this regard. Supreme Court sought explanation from Kerala government on removal of T.P. Senkumar, DGP. The Supreme Court sought explanation from the Kerala government on its decision to remove T.P. Senkumar as DGP, who called it an arbitrary decision and said that the Chief Minister should then be held accountable for the political murders in the state. The Kerala government's decision to remove Senkumar came soon after it came to power in May last year, as it accused him of poor handling of two cases: the Putingal temple fire tragedy and rape and murder of a 29-year-old Dalit woman in Perumbavoor in Ernakulam in April 2016. Uphaar Tragedy Victims Association moved Supreme Court. The Association of Victims of Uphaar Tragedy moved the Supreme Court seeking modification of its order by which real estate baron Sushil Ansal was let off, with the sentence already undergone in view of his old age. The body contended that Sushil was hale and hearty and sought the court's direction to him to surrender to finish the remainder of his 1-year sentence. Senior advocate KTS Tulsi, appearing for the association, mentioned the case before Chief Justice J.S. Kehar, who directed that plea be heard along with the petition of Gopal Ansal, who is seeking parity in the sentence with elder brother Sushil. Supreme Court calls for exemplary fines to curb frivolous PILs. The Supreme Court has asked all courts to impose exemplary cost on people who file frivolous petitions, saying such litigation chokes the judicial system. A bench of Chief Justice J.S. Kehar and Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice S.K. Kaul said liberal access to justice had led to chaos and indiscipline. The sanctity of the judicial process will be seriously eroded if such attempts are not dealt with firmly. A litigant who takes liberties with the truth or with the procedures of the court should be left in no doubt about the consequences to follow, the bench said. Supreme Court lens on Panama Leaks investigation. The Supreme Court decided to examine reports prepared by the multi-agency group probing the Panama paper case and directed the center to place them before the court in 4 weeks. A bench of Justice Deepak Mishra, Justice A.M. Khanwilkar and Justice M.M. Shantagodar favored the appointment of an independent special investigation team to conduct a probe against people identified in the paper for allegedly using offshore entities to stash black money, but said it would first go through the reports to find out whether the investigation was being conducted properly. Isolated incidents of cruelty, no ground of divorce. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court held isolated incidents of cruelty against spouse cannot be a ground to seek divorce, and marriage could be dissolved only if such incidents were of a recurring nature. A bench of Justices R.K. Agrawal and A.M. Sapre also ruled that a husband or wife could not seek divorce on the basis of incidents which took years before the petition was filed. It set aside the order of a family court and the Delhi High Court, which had granted divorce to a man on the basis of alleged incidents of cruelty against him, which took place a decade before he approached the court for dissolution of marriage, 6 years after the marriage was dissolved by the family court. The apex court allowed the plea of his wife for the restitution of her conjugal rights. Supreme Court fast-tracked proceedings against Vijay Mallya. After numerous adjournments, the Supreme Court fast-tracked the proceedings against industrialist Vijay Mallya and reserved its order on contempt proceedings against him for allegedly diverting 40 million to his children's accounts in foreign banks in violation of court orders. A bench of Justices A.K. Goyal and U.U. Lalit reserved its order on whether or not Mallya was guilty of contempt and what action should be taken to bring back the money. The court concluded the proceedings after a 3.5-hour hearing, during which the centre contended that Mallya was mocking the Indian system after fleeing the country. It said the government was holding talks with UK authorities to get him deported. 13 Maruti workers found guilty of killing general manager. 31 of violence at plant-Gurugram court. A Gurugram city court convicted 31 workers for rioting at Maruti's Manesar plant in 2012, in which a general manager died and over 100 people were injured. 13 of them have been convicted of murder. The court will sentence them on 17 March. Additional and Session Judge Rajendra Pal Goyal, however, acquitted 117 workers for lack of evidence. In all, 148 had been facing trial for the violence that rocked the automobile major in July 2012. 9 of them were in jail, while 139 were out on bail. Foreign publishers Oxford, Cambridge and Taylor Francis Group allowed to withdraw their lawsuit against a photocopy shop in Delhi University, Delhi High Court. The Delhi High Court allowed foreign publishers Oxford, Cambridge and Taylor and Francis Group to withdraw their lawsuit against a photocopy shop in Delhi University, giving relief to the students who got chapters xeroxed instead of buying a book. The publisher had moved the application for withdrawing their case against Rameshwari Photocopy for selling photocopies of parts of their books to students. Calcutta High Court Judge CS Karnan ordered case against Chief Justice of India, 6 Supreme Court judges and Attorney General. Calcutta High Court Judge C.S. Karnan held a court session at his residence within hours of the Supreme Court issuing a bailable warrant for his arrest and ordered that a case be registered under relevant sections of the SC and ST Prevention of Atrocities Act against Chief Justices of India J.S. Kehar, other apex court judges and Attorney General Mukul Rohtgi. The other apex court judges against whom Karnan wants a case registered are Justice Deepak Mishra, J. Chelameshwar, Ranjan Gogoi, Madan V. Lokur, Pinaki Chandra Ghosh and Kurian Joseph. Supreme Court refused to order CBI probe against some journalist in Agusta deal. The Supreme Court dismissed a petition seeking CBI probe against some journalists who were allegedly paid off by Italian company Finmeccanica and its subsidiary Agusta Westland to put out reports in favor of the controversial multi-crore VVIP chopper deal. A bench of Justice Deepak Mishra, A.M. Khanwilkar and M.M. Shantana Godor said it could not direct probe against the media without having credible evidence, as it would amount to violating their freedom and independence. South Korea court removed President Park Geun Hye over graft scandal. South Korea's constitutional court removed President Park Geun Hye from office over a graft scandal involving country's conglomerates at a time of rising tensions with North Korea and China. The ruling sparked protest from the hundreds of her supporters, two of whom were killed in clashes with police outside the court. Park was stripped of her powers after Parliament voted to impeach her, but has remained in the presidential officials' compound. Pak Parliament passed Hindu marriage bill. Pakistan Parliament has finally passed the landmark bill to regulate marriages of minority Hindus in the country. Pakistan's Hindus are set to get an exclusive personal law to regulate marriages after the National Assembly unanimously adopted the Hindu Marriage Bill 2017. The law was passed after a lengthy process of enactment. Thank you.